Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Pemko number 101BDG. Let's do these pieces one at a time. So the Pemko 101 is a threshold cap, this is called. This is typically installed, but not exclusively and not necessarily, on top of an existing saddle type or flat type sill, where you want to obtain the advantage of an interlocking threshold. Or it's installed just as a threshold itself to give you that little interlocking sort of feature, which is a tremendously effective way to seal the bottom of the door. So what you're seeing here specifically is just what we're going to call the threshold cap. Okay? It is just this bull nose sort of profile with the lip that's here, and that's representative of the 101. The 101 is this profile. The BDG is bright dip gold. You can see that it has a relatively shiny metallic sort of finish. This item is going to be available in mill finish, just mill aluminum, and solid architectural bronze, onto which you can do mill finish in solid bronze, satin brass finish, polished brass finish, oil rub bronze finish. Those four are on a solid bronze base material. Back to the aluminum, you can do, we mentioned mill, you can do dark bronze, which would be D in the part number. You can do G, just gold, and it's just a different sort of look and might complement a gold finish better than bright dip gold. This is a bit more shiny or metallic. The gold is matte, but still a gold finish. And I believe that's it. Mill, gold, bright dip gold, and dark bronze. As a matter of fact, that is it. That's the only, I'm looking at the cheat sheet that I have here. Mill, bright dip gold, dark bronze, and gold, and then those four finishes on solid architectural bronze, sometimes referred to as brass. So this is an item that will allow you to achieve an interlock. These are always included with the J-hook. You can see why we call it a J-hook. Okay? These make, when this is attached to the bottom of the door, it's nailed, and I'll show you the nails in a moment, and this is attached to the sill. When the door closes, it simply makes this sort of connection. Now that is an incredibly positive, secure seal at the bottom. And people who have had interlock thresholds like this same principle, have come to rely on the fact that they're incredibly efficient. Maybe not from an R value sort of perspective. I mean, it's metal on metal, so you're going to transfer the cold from what this is attached to this, to the bottom of the door. But the bottom line is this: that sort of mechanical connection will eliminate the possibility, really, of intrusion of air, moisture, critters. You know, it really blocks it off incredibly well. And they're very long lasting, an interlock system. They're decades long lasting. And really the only time when you replace generally just the J-hook is because it's become unintentionally damaged. You might remove the door to paint it and put the door down and crimp the whole J-hook, or something's been left in front of the door and you push the door open like a shoe, and you really just aren't thinking and you push it over the shoe and destroy the hook at that point. Or maybe the door and frame have become so out of square that it no longer makes a nice connection, but that's a refit of the door itself. And you can buy just the J-hooks easily. They're very inexpensive. So a lot of people like it for all those reasons. Now, I had mentioned you're going to nail the J-hook to the bottom of the door and you'll get small little brads. You will screw the threshold cap down to whatever you're attaching it to. You're going to have some, they look like they're about a number 10 by 1.25 inch flathead screws in a complementary finish. Okay, very common. That J-hook's going to get nailed down to the bottom of the door, right through this flange. You can see that you've got this sort of preparation here that will allow you about a 1/16 of an inch margin. The head of those nails is relatively small, but you will need to account for that. The bottom of the door, the J-hook is nailed to the bottom of the door. Then you've got to give yourself a center line of the hook to the center line of the mouth, center line of the mouth of the hook to the center line of the lip, So all that mates up really well. What I'm trying to say is you're gonna leave a little margin for the head of the nails, just like that. That's what you're gonna do. You can, and most people do, just nail that right to the bottom of a flat bottom door. You could mortise the bottom of the door so that it, in effect, just making a small drawing here, forgive me, looked like that. Okay? Most people will just install it down to the bottom of the door so that it looks like that, of course. That's typical. But you can get fancy and do that. Now, I like the getting fancy part because it gives you a better sort of look on the bottom of the door. You really don't see, any of the contraption at all from the pull side. It's just an option that some people elect to do. Alternatively, you can order the L hook, and the L hook is surface mounted to the face of the door and drop down to, well, let's make another drawing, and drop down to the point where the L hook will mate like that down here at the bottom, and then it's nailed through the face of the door there. Not unheard of, not uncommon. The only people that are really doing that is they already have that sort of installation. It's not widely known in my experience that it's done as a new installation, but very occasionally someone will do it, and primarily because they've already seen it and that's what they're used to, where the bottom of the door already has it sort of thing, so they're going to replace the existing. Like I said earlier, these will always come with a J hook. You can do an L hook as well. We might need to, you will need to reach out to us so that we can work towards a substitution of the hooks. The finish might be problematic on the L hook because perhaps not necessarily all finishes are available in that L hook. If you're doing a mill aluminum finish, it's not going to be a problem. Bright dip gold, I'm not sure if the L hook is available. Now, there is an image below this video showing the important dimensional properties of the item, and let's go over that now. You can see that the threshold cap itself is 1.1 inches wide and then 5/16 tall. So in my guesstimation, you're going to need to be sure that you've got every bit of 7/16 undercut or right in that range. You might be able to pad it a little bit to make all of this work. You're going to need a room for that hook to get nailed up down there, split the difference between the two sort of situation. Now the hook is an overall width of 1 inch, just shy. Overall height, about 1/4 inch. The hook portion itself of that just shy of 1 inch is about 5/16 of an inch. And this hook on the bright dip gold and the gold and probably the dark bronze is going to be solid. This is bronze itself. This is not anodized aluminum, and that's typical and common for that. Available in all the common lengths and plenty uncommon lengths. 2 foot to 8 foot are probably listed in the website. If you have need for a custom length, by all means let us know by ordering the next longest piece or pieces and indicate in the comment field what length you'd like for us to cut the material back to. The reasoning is this. If you ordered a custom length, we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to, first of all, provide these at the length you've asked for. That will save you the trouble of having to cut them. You might not be able to easily cut this sort of very thin wall material. This is probably 18 thousandths of an inch thick. Okay? So it's small. It's thin, I should say. And then, of course, the aluminum. Cutting either of these is not a challenge. You just may not, A, have the ability to cut the material, and B, you may not have the desire to cut the material. That's great. Order the next longest piece or piece, and we'll cut it to the proper length, but we'll also position the countersinks at the proper distance from the edge. If you had to take this 4-foot piece and cut it down to 42 inch, you'd likely eliminate that countersink that's there. And then you're stuck drilling another one, and then your centers aren't correct. So if you ordered a custom length, we're going to cut everything to length, give you the countersink at the proper distance from the edge, and the proper center to center as well. These thresholds are going to be used primarily in residential applications, is really where I see them the most. But not necessarily. I've seen them in commercial applications where you've got an office suite and you, for whatever purpose of that room, want to create a better seal on an interior sort of application. But residential, often. You'll see these installed on a attached garage door. I've been in homes where that door is 1 3/8 solid core. It's a solid particle board core door, and it's not uncommon to have a threshold like this installed in that application. Wherever an interlock is going to work for you, that's great. Residential applications using it as a threshold cap, very common. You're going to come back and say, well, you know what, the saddle type threshold and the door sweep combination aren't working well for me. I want an interlock, or maybe an interlock in addition to other means to seal the bottom of the door. The name Pemko is synonymous with all things weather stripping related, not only things typically seen in a residential environment. Commercial weather stripping as well, and there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up the full line Pemko product catalog and review all things weather stripping related from them. Material made of aluminum like this, and bronze, and stainless steel as well, but not only thresholds, but perimeter gasketing and door sweeps. If you have any questions on the Pemko number 101BDG threshold cap with an interlock J-hook or any other Pemko product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.